Hi EasyThreeders, today we're going to be reviewing this. This is the EasyThreed K2 3D printer. It's a PLA printer and it's probably one of the cheapest printers you are ever going to see. And today I'm going to be reviewing this and I'm working in collaboration with TEMU again, who very kindly given me this QR code to give you guys. Now if you're a new user to TEMU and you use this QR code or this code here, you can get this printer from as little as 48 quid. Wow. Stay tuned. Easy and straightforward are the words that I'd use to set this printer up. From the unboxing of it, which I have to say it came very well boxed. The instructions are all there that you're going to need. The tools are there. You're going to need an SD card, the screws, a little screwdriver. And assembly was a doddle really. You just place the two pieces together, screw in around about 8 screws, 4 on each side. There are 2 connectors to connect together which connect the X and Y motors and the Z motor to the power, and you are pretty much done. It's got a magnetic flexible build plate, which is a wonderful addition. I've got to be honest, things cling to this really well, and it's got 4 holes in it so that placing it on once you've taken it off is relatively easy. There is a screen on there that you can follow. It's quite a small screen, but you can actually change things on it and you can access it very easily, and that's a lovely thing to see. And weighing at only 1.4 kilograms, the thing is as light as a feather, so little people can carry it around. Now you are going to need to level this. There's no auto leveling with this, and it's relatively easy. It just requires a piece of paper, and you rotate the little knobs underneath the build plate, to which there are 4 of them, 1 in each corner, until the paper literally just drags on the hot end. You don't want it to not move at all, you just want some resistance. So when all 4 corners have been done, it is ready to go. You load your filament into the direct drive at the top, press a couple of buttons on there to extrude, and you can see all on the screen, and look at that. Out comes the wonderful PLA from the hot end. This will go up to 200 degrees centigrade, so just be cautious of that hot end. It can get quite warm for little fingers, but that is the essence of how 3D printers work, and it's extruding the PLA remarkably, no problems at all. And there we go. You can now see we've told it to print. There is some files on the SD card that you plug into the side, and I've told it to print one of the first ones, which is a rocket. And I've heard a few people have some problems with leveling of this machine, but I've got to be honest, I've leveled it once and it seems to be working absolutely fine. Perhaps I'm just lucky, or perhaps I've just done this so many times now I know the tension that you need. But if it doesn't stick to the build plate, just change the leveling a little and I'm sure you'll have no problems at all. And about 30 minutes later, here it is, the very first print on the K2. And I've got to be honest, okay, it's not going to win any best 3D print awards, but it looks okay. It's adhered really well to this flexible build plate, and it's not a heated build plate, so I am really surprised how well things stick to it, but that is absolutely fab. Look at the detail in that. That's nice. It's fairly smooth. You can see there are some layer lines in there. It's a 0.2 millimeter layer height, so you know, you're not going to get fine detail, but look what you're paying for this. This is my first 3D printer aimed at the little ones, aimed at someone who just wants to dip his toe into the hobby and see if the hobby's for him. But I don't think that's a bad first 3D print at all. I think it's smooth, and if you wanted it to be perfect like any 3D print, you would sand it down until it became completely smooth and you get rid of all those layer lines. But for a machine that comes in at under 50 quid, I don't think you can complain about that. Now if you want to make your own designs, it comes with its own version of Cura, so you can drop in your STL files the same as any other printer would have its slicing software, and you can change things in there. You can make things bigger, smaller, rotate them, add supports, hollow, do all the things that you would normally do with your slicer. And once you've done that, you would save it on the included SD card, take it across to the printer, pop it in, select that file and tell it to print, and it is as simple as that. And about an hour later, here is little old Batman. Again, not the highest quality print, but this does what it says it will do, and it will 3D print. For a beginner in the hobby, this is absolutely fine and perfect. And again, if we just look at the quality, okay, it's not completely crisp. There are layer lines in there. It's not going to win any awards, but it is doing what it says on the box and 3D printing. I'm relatively surprised at how easy everything was to set up, and I'm also relatively surprised at the quality you're getting with the prints that it's producing. Now, what I want to do next is do something a little bit more, shall we say, complicated, something a little bit larger. So what I'm going to use is this new filament that I've got from TEMU. This is a multicoloured filament, and this I'll also put a link in the description where I got this from, and extruding it in exactly the same way as the first one. It's coming out the hot end. This one looks very smooth. It's coming out lovely, and I'm going to be printing a vase with it, just something a little bit bigger and something a little bit more complicated. I've told it to print, and printing it is doing. Now, I'm quite surprised how easy this was. I'm really pleased with how simple the setup was, how easily I got from setup to first print, and how everything has gone smoothly and everything has gone to plan. I can't fault this thing really for what it is and for what it does and for how much it cost. And a few hours later, here it is. Now, who wouldn't be pleased with this? This printer that you can get for less than 50 quid has produced this little pen holder, this tiny little vase. There's a few little layer line shifts in it, but hey ho, what a wonderful printer for a wonderful price. So what are my final thoughts on this K2 by EasyThreed? Well, let's look at who it's aimed at. This 3D printer, I suspect, is aimed at the younger generation. It's aimed at the kids. It's aimed at the people who want to get their toes wet in the water but don't want to spend hundreds of pounds on a 3D printer. Perhaps it's aimed at young teenagers or even younger children, but you've got to be careful because there are some hot parts on there and some moving parts, etc. So adult supervision, I suggest, is always required. It's also aimed at people who just want to see what it's like to 3D print. They maybe want to just test out, see what all the fuss is about. Now, this printer isn't going to make cosplay pieces. It's not going to make big, fancy, spot-on busts or models. But if you're interested in the hobby and you just want to see what it's about, this is a great 3D printer to start with. And as I say, you can get this if you use the TEMU code or the TEMU QR code. You can get this for as little as £50, under that even. It's a fantastic price for a 3D printer just as a tester. Now, Christmas is coming, so what a great little stocking filler for the kiddies, or what a great stocking filler for that man in your life who you haven't got a clue what to buy for. This is just another gadget he can have a little play with, and you never know, it might get him into the habit. Now, from a longevity perspective, obviously I haven't used this in a long time. One of the things you have to do with these 3D printers is change the nozzles, and it appears on this machine you have to buy the whole nozzle unit, and I've found them on TEMU, and I'll put a link in the description where you can get them from, so no real dramas. Bed adherence is really good for a little printer of this kind. It seems to be holding on the bed beautifully without the need for any glue or any tape or anything like that. Everything seems to be working fine. What I've thrown at it's done, but again, let's just remember this is not the most complicated 3D printer on the market. It's great for little things, it's great for easy, simple things, but complicated things or things with high amounts of detail, it's going to struggle with. However, I think as your first 3D printer, do you know what? I've had great fun with this, great fun, and I've been into 3D printing for many, many years, and I've got really expensive 3D printers, but this one, it's fun, and it gets me back to why I joined and I started this hobby. If you like what you see today, please subscribe to the channel. Think about joining the Greedy 3D Patreon. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is it something you'd consider buying for your kiddies? Is it something you've bought? Tell me the experiences you've had, good and bad, with it. And don't forget, if you're new to the TEMU app, you can get this by following the QR code and using my code for under £50. If you're already a member of TEMU, you can get a £100 discount just by using the code that I put there. Hope you've enjoyed that. Hope you found that interesting today. Look forward to hearing what you think. See you soon on Greedy 3D.